The Buckeyes suffered a big decommitment at the wide receiver position, but don't worry. Brian Hartline has a loaded recruiting board. We're going to take a deeper look at the wide receiver position. I got Matt Parker, Ohio State insider, on to talk about it all. Also, 5-star offensive tackle David Sanders will be in Columbus this weekend. Is Ohio State a true contender? Buckeye fans, lock in, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. All right, let's bring on Matt Parker from Letterman Row. And like I said, Ohio State lost a wide receiver commit from Javen Boggs. Second commitment in the 2025 cycle, only behind Tavian St. Clair. Is this a big loss for Ohio State?
I mean, yes, but also we'll see what happens. If there was going to be a decommitment, this is the position for that to happen, just given Ohio State's track record. I say it is a big loss just because I don't think the rankings accurately reflect maybe how talented Javen Boggs really is. And that's not a shot at our guys, Charles Power and Cody Belair. But it's more so this 2025 wide receiver cycle is ridiculously talented, and guys got to be put somewhere. Javen Boggs reminds Ohio State a lot of Jackson Smith and Jigba, which kind of should tell you everything that you really need to know. But also, Josh, Ohio State is making plays for wide receivers that are really high up there in the rankings. I mean, the Buckeyes have hosted DeCorrian Moore, Khalil Lockett, Jamie French and Vernal Brown this upcoming weekend. There's a lot going on with Ohio State in its wide receiver room.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you introduced that wide receiver board to us. Let's start at the top here with DeCorrian Moore. Now, he's committed to LSU, but there's starting to be some rumors surrounding his recruitment and the Ohio State Buckeyes. What's your read on DeCorrian Moore, and is this more of a long-term play here?
I think it absolutely is the long-term kind of play here, Josh. I mean, you saw that he came out with, I call it a soft top 4. When he came out with that list a few weeks back about the 4 schools that he was really focusing in on, and one of them was Ohio State. And then the 5-star plus wide receiver out of Duncanville, Texas, shows up at Ohio State on March 18th. He's there for Buckeyes' first practice after their spring break. Really got to see the sights and sound of Columbus. And Ohio State has always kind of been in the background there, but Ohio State with Brian Hartline and DeCorrian Moore, that's a relationship that has really taken off in these last 6 weeks, Josh. And I think if we can see an official visit get scheduled here for DeCorrian Moore and Ohio State in June, don't count out Ohio State for DeCorrian Moore for sure.
Right. Let's stay in the state of Texas with another 5-star wide receiver, Khalil Lockett. This recruitment is way more wide open. How do you view Ohio State's position with Lockett, and who are the main contenders in your opinion?
I think the main contenders, it's got to be Texas and USC, right? I saw that he's had a couple of conversations. I saw he was on Duke the Scoop show a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, whenever that was, saying that he already has official visits locked in for Texas and USC and doesn't have OVs locked in for anywhere else. That to me is a little bit telling, reading the tea leaves and things like that. But what I do know is Ohio State really inserted itself in the race for Khalil Lockett, the number 2 wide receiver, according to On3 in the 2025 cycle. And me personally, he is my favorite wide receiver in this 2025 cycle. You throw on the tape and there's some similar movements to Garrett Wilson watching his tape. So it's certainly one that Ohio State would love to get. They're working to get. Next is we just got to see if and when that official visit to Ohio State gets locked in, if you will.
If you will. I will. All right. Let's move down the list to a pair of Florida wide receivers in Jamie French and Vernal Brown III. Jamie French, we talk about all the time on this channel, and until further notice, Ohio State is the team to beat. Vernal Brown, though, he's a Florida legacy, but he seems to be trending in Ohio State's direction. What are the Buckeyes doing right with Vernal Brown right now?
I think it's just the relationship aspect of it, Josh. I mean, you look at, again, so much when you and I talk about Ohio State and wide receivers, we talk about what the Buckeyes have done in terms of development, what Brian Hartline has done with guys from all over the place in rankings and sending them to the NFL. But the key thing here is relationships. Vernal Brown is a South Florida Express guy. Ohio State really can just see the South Florida Express roster and be like, okay, we want you, we want you, we want you. And they seem to end up in Columbus. I mean, you got Brandon Ennis, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, Some folks would say that Mylan Graham is an SFE kid, even though he only played for like 2 games for SFE. But it's really the relationship aspect. And that's why Ohio State is really sitting in a good position right now for Vernal Brown.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that one. Now, the big visit of the upcoming week is number 1 offensive tackle David Sanders. He's visiting this weekend per Steve Wiltfong. What's the latest on where the Buckeyes stand? And do you believe that after this visit, we'll be talking about Ohio State is a legit contender for the number 1 offensive tackle?
Absolutely, Josh. I mean, this visit and David Sanders, he's hands down the most important visitor that's heading to Ohio State this spring. And the Buckeyes still have their spring game on the calendar.
Right.
To me, David Sanders is the one offensive piece that Ohio State needs to land in this recruiting cycle. Ohio State offensive tackle commit Carter Lowe is going to be on campus this weekend, kind of do some peer recruiting there. Tavian St. Clair, the Buckeyes 2025 quarterback, is also going to be on campus this weekend, have some peer recruiting on both sides there. It needs to go well for Ohio State, simply to just put it simply, Josh. I mean, you look at Sanders' top 6 of Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Alabama. I think South Carolina is on there. Tennessee is on there as well. Ohio State is the outlier. All of those schools, other than the Buckeyes, they're in the South. Distance is going to be a factor if Ohio State is going to be that contender. And Ryan Day, offensive line coach Justin Fry, Carter Lowe, Tavian St. Clair, and just about everybody in the building this weekend needs to show a reason why Ohio State can be and should be the place for David Sanders. Now, the big thing here, Josh, is that David Sanders already has his Ohio State official visit scheduled. That's the last weekend of June. And now I know, typically anymore, you would see the last weekend in June right before that July dead period. That's the visit that you want. But with these unlimited official visits these days, it's kind of a moot point. However, I get the sense that David Sanders really would want to end his recruitment before his senior season. And if that's the case, Ohio State getting that last official visit in the last weekend of June is massive.
Yeah, and this is kind of the start of his recruitment to Ohio State. Not literally the start, but stepping on campus for this unofficial visit is huge. It's a must-get to have him on campus in the spring. Speaking of must-gets, on Saturday, linebacker TJ Alford, the number 8 linebacker in America, is going to be announcing his decision. He's down there at Vero Beach High School in Florida. Real quick, which way you leaning on this one, as we're about 2 or 3 days out from his decision?
I mean, if it's not Ohio State, I'll be pretty shocked. I've had a prediction in the On3 recruiting prediction machine for a while now. The way that this has been trending, really since about late November of 2023, Ohio State has really just put itself in the driver's seat for TJ Alford. He was on campus last weekend. He's committing this weekend. You read the tea leaves there, Josh, and if things go how they are looking to go, TJ Alford's going to be an Ohio State Buckeye by the end of Saturday night.
Yeah, he's going to commit there. But remember, the Ohio State Buckeyes are going head-to-head against the Miami Hurricanes, and we've seen how some of these recruitments end up in December, in January. So we'll see if Ohio State can hold on to him, but I agree with you. I do think that TJ Alford's going to commit to Ohio State on Saturday, so keep an eye out for that. Letterman Row, that's where you guys want to go for all your recruiting needs. It's a huge weekend for Ohio State recruiting. Go check it out. Matt Parker, appreciate you dropping by the Inside Scoop today.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed that, go check out the hundreds of videos that we have on this channel, and also do me a favor, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel.